The universe is not eternal. That is not philosophy, it is measurement. Light from distant galaxies arrives weaker each year. Stars burn fuel they will never recover. Space itself stretches, thinning everything it contains. This is not a future threat. It is a process already in motion. Every structure that exists does so on borrowed time. Every form of order is temporary. The universe does not age like a living thing. It unravels like a system that was never meant to last. The question is no longer whether it will end. The question is, what kind of ending is written into the laws that built it? The universe did not begin in balance. From the first moments after its expansion became describable, reality was uneven. Energy was concentrated. Matter clumped. Temperature differed from place to place. This imbalance is not a flaw. It is the reason anything exists at all. Stars form because matter gathers. Galaxies exist because gravity amplifies difference. Life appears because energy flows from high concentration to low. But the same condition that allows structure also guarantees its disappearance. Every process that creates order creates entropy alongside it, not as a side effect, as a cost. The universe does not move toward complexity by default. It moves toward equilibrium. Structure survives only by delaying that outcome. This is not speculation. It is the most consistently confirmed principle in physics. Energy spreads. Gradients flatten. Systems exhaust their ability to do work. From the very first stars to the smallest chemical reaction, everything that happens moves the universe one step closer to a state where nothing meaningful can happen anymore. The end is not something waiting in the future. It is something accumulating in the present. Every second that allows existence also consumes the conditions that made existence possible. The universe did not need to be destroyed to contain its own ending. It only needed to begin. For a long time, expansion sounded harmless. Galaxies moving apart, space getting bigger, room to grow. But expansion is not just motion. It is separation written into geometry. As space expands, distance does not increase linearly. It compounds. Regions of the universe slip away faster than light can travel, not because anything breaks the speed limit, but because the space between points keeps growing. This creates a quiet threshold. Beyond a certain distance, events no longer influence one another. Not eventually. Immediately, light can no longer cross the gap. Signals never arrive. Causes lose their effects. This is not the universe tearing itself apart. It is the universe losing coherence. Galaxies outside our local region are already crossing this boundary. They are not vanishing. They are becoming irrelevant to everything else. Over time, each island of matter becomes alone, surrounded not by darkness, but by unreachable space. Expansion does not destroy structure directly. It removes relationship. And without relationship, structure cannot persist. What remains is not chaos. It is isolation. A universe where things still exist, but no longer belong to anything larger. This is how endings begin without collapse, without violence, without a final moment anyone can point to. Space keeps growing. And with every stretch, the universe becomes less capable of holding itself together. Energy does not disappear. It spreads. This rule is quiet, but absolute. Whenever something happens, a star ignites, a particle collides, a thought forms, energy becomes less usable than it was before. Not lost, diluted. Heat flows from hot to cold. Motion settles into stillness. Differences erase themselves. This is entropy. The universe functions because differences exist. Stars shine because their cores are hotter than space. Life persists because energy flows through fragile gaps. Structure survives by feeding on imbalance, but expansion accelerates entropy's work. Stars exhaust their fuel. New stars form more slowly than old ones die. Eventually, star formation ends entirely. Black holes remain, but even they are not permanent. Over immense time, they leak energy until nothing concentrated remains. What follows is not destruction, it is exhaustion. No reactions capable of complexity, no temperatures capable of contrast, no processes capable of producing novelty. Particles may still exist, radiation may still drift, time may still pass, but nothing meaningful can occur. Not because the universe is empty, but because it is evenly full. This is the coldest ending imaginable. Not a collapse, not an explosion. A universe where everything has happened and nothing is left that can still happen. Expansion is not the only force written into the universe. Gravity has never stopped pulling back. Every star exists because gravity won. Every galaxy holds together because expansion failed locally. On small scales, gravity dominates without question. The idea of collapse begins here. If expansion were to slow, if the pressure driving space apart weakened, gravity would not hesitate. Matter would begin to fall inward. Galaxies would drift back toward one another. Distances would shrink instead of grow. Temperature would rise. Density would increase. Energy would concentrate again. This is not a return to the beginning. It is the same process, run in reverse under different conditions. In such a universe, the end is not emptiness. It is compression. Stars would collide more frequently. Radiation would thicken. Space would lose its openness. Time itself would become constrained, not by running out, but by having too much happen too quickly. The universe would not freeze, it would overheat. Whether this collapse completes depends on a single factor: whether gravity can ever overcome expansion on the largest scale. Current measurements suggest it cannot. Expansion appears too strong, too persistent. But the possibility matters because it reveals something fundamental. The universe does not have one preferred direction. It balances on competing tendencies to spread and to fall back into itself. The end, in this case, would not be quiet. It would be the universe taking everything it ever produced and forcing it back into proximity. Not as punishment, not as design. As consequence, there is a more unsettling possibility than collapse or exhaustion. The universe may not end because it runs out of energy or pulls itself back together. It may end because the rules it follows are not permanent. According to modern physics, the vacuum of space is not truly empty. It is a state, a configuration of fields holding a specific amount of energy. And that state may not be the lowest one possible. If the universe exists in a metastable vacuum, then everything we know rests on a temporary balance, stable enough to last billions of years, but not guaranteed forever. In this scenario, a quantum fluctuation can trigger a transition to a lower energy state, not gradually, not locally, instantly. A bubble forms where the laws of physics reorganize, constants shift, forces realign. Particles as we know them may no longer exist. This bubble expands at the speed of light. Nothing outruns it. Nothing detects it in advance. No warning reaches ahead of the change. From the inside, there is no experience of destruction, no fire, no collapse. One moment, the universe operates under familiar rules. The next, those rules no longer apply. This is not an ending caused by time. It is an ending caused by instability. The universe does not die slowly here. It is replaced, not by nothing, but by a version of reality where everything that made this universe possible is no longer allowed to exist. All these scenarios share something unsettling. None of them need violence. The universe does not have to explode. It does not have to collapse into a final scream. It does not even have to disappear. An ending can arrive simply because continuation is no longer possible. Heat death does not break the universe. It removes the conditions for change. Expansion does not erase matter. It removes connection. Vacuum decay does not destroy structure. It replaces the rules that allowed structure to exist at all. In every case, the universe still exists in some form. What disappears is not reality, but relevance. Processes lose direction. Causality loses reach. Complexity loses support. The universe does not end when nothing remains. It ends when nothing can happen that leads anywhere new. This reframes the entire idea of an ending. The universe is not a machine that shuts off. It is a system that exhausts the paths available to it. Once all paths close, existence continues, but without consequence. An ending does not need a final moment if the future itself has nowhere left to go. There is a problem hidden inside every ending. If the universe truly reaches a final state, complete equilibrium, total exhaustion, or absolute rule change, then nothing further can follow. No process, no evolution, no new structure, and yet physics has never been comfortable with absolute finality. In many areas of nature, what looks like an ending turns out to be a transition. Atoms do not disappear when stars die. Energy does not vanish when systems cool. Even collapse often reorganizes what it destroys. Some cosmological models take this seriously. They suggest that extreme conditions do not terminate reality. They force it into a new configuration. A universe stretched thin may reach a point where space-time itself becomes unstable. A universe compressed beyond limit may be unable to remain singular. In these views, an ending is not a wall. It is a threshold, not a return to the beginning, and not a continuation of the same rules, but a phase change so complete that what follows cannot be described using the concepts that came before. This does not promise renewal. It does not guarantee meaning. It does not imply design. It simply acknowledges a pattern. When systems reach their limits, they often do not stop. They transform. Whether the universe is allowed to do the same remains unknown. But the possibility itself reveals something important. The laws we observe may describe how reality behaves within a phase, not what reality does when that phase can no longer sustain itself. Every scenario points to the same conclusion. The universe does not fail. It follows through. Whether it thins into isolation, freezes into equilibrium, collapses into density, or reorganizes its own rules. None of these outcomes are accidents. They are implications. The laws that allow stars to form also allow them to burn out. The forces that create structure also dismantle it. The stability that holds reality together may itself be temporary. The end of the universe is not a mistake written into existence. It is consistency carried to its limit. And that changes how the ending should be understood. This is not a countdown toward destruction. It is a demonstration of what happens when a system is allowed to run without interruption. Nothing intervenes. Nothing corrects the course. Nothing preserves meaning by default. The universe does not protect complexity. It does not preserve observers. It does not favor continuation. It allows existence, and then it allows the conditions for existence to disappear. What remains at the end is not an answer about fate, or purpose, or intention. It is clarity. The universe does not owe permanence to anything it creates. And whatever survives the end, whether nothing, or something rearranged beyond recognition, will not do so because it was meant to. It will do so because the rules allowed it to happen. The universe does not move toward an ending because it seeks one. It moves there because nothing stops it. Every star that formed, every structure that held together, every moment where complexity briefly survived was never protected, only permitted. What we call the end is not a final scene. It is the moment when the conditions that once allowed meaning are no longer sustained. Whether the universe fades, collapses, resets, or transforms into something unrecognizable, one fact remains unchanged. Existence was never guaranteed to last, and yet, for a time, it did. In the next step of this journey, the question shifts away from the universe itself and turns inward toward the one thing that notices endings, fears them, and tries to give them meaning. If this question stayed with you, you already know why. Stay here. Because the end of the universe is not the end of the story. It is where another kind of question begins,